Hello and welcome to Honest Faith Conversations. As always, I am your co-host, Miguel Covarrubias.
And I am Kathy Covarrubias. And today, let's talk about Doctor Who Series 10, because we finally watched it.
For those of you who have not yet gotten a chance to go and watch that, it is on Amazon Prime now for streaming. Mm-hmm. You do not have to pay for that, except for the subscription to Amazon Prime. But if you are an Amazon Prime member, which, why are you not, free shipping?
2-day shipments too. I mean,
yeah.
We should also mention Amazon is not giving us any money.
Yes, I wish they were.
Amazon, if you want to give us money.
I did sign up for that, but nobody's really clicked on any links from my website, and yeah.
So people, click on links on the website.
Well, no, Amazon kicked me off the affiliate program because I didn't have enough people to click on my links.
Wah, wah.
So, anyway, spoiler alert because we're going to be talking about a lot of things that come up in season 10.
Yep, and a little bit about other seasons too, but just touching it, not too much.
Well, and like the Doctor, we are going to be regenerating after this episode.
Nice.
And we will be regenerating into the patron saints of pop culture. So this is our last episode as Honest Faith Conversations. So next week we will have a brand new picture. We will have a brand new logo. We're going to have a brand new, probably not intro yet because we're going to put it out there for people. And we'll talk about that here at the end. If you want to make an intro music for us, if you would like to do something like that, we would be very grateful, and a big shout out to you and to all of you musicians who may think to do so. We'd be very, very, very grateful and, give you a big, huge shout out. Probably every episode that we use it and be like, hey, check out this person because they made us this awesome intro.
And if you're worried about not being able to find us, don't worry. If you have subscribed to us, you shouldn't lose that subscription at all. It should just look different, but you'd still be subscribed to us. So, With that said, if you're not subscribed to us and you like to listen to us, make sure you do subscribe to us within the next couple of days. That way you can make sure that you don't lose us.
Yes, we will be making the changes probably Friday, maybe Sunday, depending on how this week goes for us. Because, we're parents and, life is busy.
Yes.
So, with that being said, let us jump in. Our review and summary for my summary for Series 10 here is the Doctor has a new companion and goes on his crazy adventures and becomes a she at the end of the series.
Yep. What series of Doctor Who can't you just put, he goes on a series of adventures?
I know. It's really, you can't really, sum up a whole Doctor Who season without spending hours on going into every detail.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll add to it. So the Doctor is actually a professor, and he meets, I guess, a colleague because she works at the school too. And she becomes his companion. Bill is her name. And they go on adventures. And then the Doctor becomes a she.
Okay. I really did enjoy this series. I did enjoy it a little bit more than I did the previous one. I did really like the end of the last series of Series 9. Primarily because, I don't know, I just don't like Clara. I really do not like Clara, and I think that the whole Me storyline was pretty good, but I don't know, there was just a lot of Clara in the last series.
Yeah,
the whole mind wipe of Clara thing was, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't mind her at first, but near the end, I was like, oh my gosh, can we please just move on? There was some episodes with Clara that I honestly don't remember watching just because I lost so much interest in it. And the episode that she left. I seriously am it wasn't that big of a deal to me.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yep. See you later, Clara.
Yeah, the whole right before death thing, it was, interesting. It was a good well-written episode, but wasn't really one that I felt like.
No. I really wish we had more of Bill, though, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
So I did really enjoy season 10, series 10 here. I really did enjoy the interaction between Bill and the Doctor, and it was not full of that sexual tension that has been there in previous ones. It really, I think, was very true to who the Doctor is, and I think should be as a character. And I think it really did, very good setup, and so I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this as well too. He's not as mopey as the last series, and that was a big complaint from a lot of people. But I didn't mind him being mopey. But anyway, so if you enjoyed a happier Doctor, he was definitely happier. Mystery, if you enjoyed mystery, there was mystery in here as well too that kind of followed along the whole. And so because of that, I really liked it. And also I did like Bill, and I liked, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name.
Nardole.
Yeah, Nardole. I did like him. I know a lot of people didn't, but I did. I thought he was hilarious and sexy.
That's not all he's good for, Kathy.
Oh, okay.
So what I really wanted to get into for this whole series, and I think that this one really focuses on, and I'm going to say this because they did bring it up a few times throughout the series, is that this, I think, a lot of it was aimed at political moves within the UK as well as political moves within the US. Is a lot of this. And I think this is very true and very in Stephen Moffat tradition with the shows that he's run, is to say, be kind. Yes, we did some stupid things with our voting, but you know what? We can still resist. We can still be kind. We can still do these things, and it's not about what you think it is. And I think that what Doctor Who has been very good about since the very beginning, for all 50 some odd years, what is it, 54 now?
A long
years?
time.
Yes. 54 years that Doctor Who has been on the air, that, well, minus those years that it really wasn't, and, whatever, with the lost episodes and all that other stuff, but it's been really good at viewing humanity from the outside. And a lot of these shows with these sci-fi traditions, with even viewing things with aliens and all this other stuff, it's about viewing humanity for its humanity and for nothing else than that. And I think that Doctor Who has been very good about that, and that's I think what it was made very clear by Stephen Moffat here in his last season as showrunner, is saying, we can be human still. We can still be human in our responses to each other, and I think this is more evident in the episode 3 of this series, where I think it's called On Thin Ice, where the Doctor is coming before this one guy, talking about the giant monster in the Thames, and asking him to have some humanity about the kid that was killed on the ice there. And so he's talking to Bill beforehand, and he's saying to Bill, you don't really come off as charming. I'm going to be charming. Just let's do this diplomatically. Yeah. And so the guy comes in and starts going off on Bill because, well, Bill is a woman and of color. And so it's like, who let this commoner in here? And the Doctor just reels off and slugs the guy in the face, which I think that is so very true of the Doctor, is that the Doctor really dislikes it when people do not see the other as sentient. And I'm going to say sentient because it deals with a lot of alien races and stuff like this, is that it's not just as human, but as sentient, as another person. Yep.
As emotionally intelligent as yourself.
Exactly. We see this a lot in the episodes with the monks, with the digital programming, and with going up against the monks when they first arrive, and then that third episode with when they're actually over the planet with their statues and everything else. I think that in this they were asking humanity to give up its humanity, by giving consent to the monks. And this is what they were saying, was that, no, you have to give it because we can't take it by force. And I think that's something that they learned through their computer programming.
Yeah, because they know if they take it by force, it's not going to work because we have a higher likelihood of fighting back. Exactly.
And when it's given up willingly, when we're actually falling into this pattern of being drones and falling into, and this is where I think the allegory was going, when you're falling into party lines, that, you're becoming this zombie that, will always go with what the leaders say. And you see this in that third episode as well, when you saw that everybody was being brainwashed by the frequencies, and that Bill's mother was being used to, really, when we were watching that episode, we kind of, I said, so this is the Handmaid's Tale Doctor's Edition, right? Which I think it's very true, because it is the Handmaid's Tale. It's remembering the mother who was the activist, remembering the mother who was, that big kind of symbol within the Handmaid's Tale. They didn't really talk about it too much in the Hulu series of the Handmaid's Tale, but
maybe she'll come up
in season 2.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about that, of course, when we get around to that.
When it comes out soon.
Yay! In April.
Yay for crying and being traumatized.
Yeah, we probably won't talk about it until June, because that's when it will be over. Hulu does not do like Amazon or with Netflix, where they put the entire series up, and so you can binge it. So on a weekly basis. One of the reasons why I think it really comes down to this whole season about being kindness and recognizing each other as human beings, is because of the big doctor speeches. And that's what Doctor Who is all about, is the big doctor speeches. Is that the Doctor had these 2 major speeches, which are in the last 2 episodes, the Christmas special and the last episode of the full series. In the Dr. Falls, let's see, hold on a second, I got to pull this up. In the Dr. Falls.
He's almost there, everybody.
I'm almost there. I got to pull up the right one. All right, there we go. In the Dr. Falls, when he is talking to Missy and the Master, he's saying, I'm going to be dead in a few hours. So before I go, let's have this out. You and me, once and for all. Winning? Is that what you think it's about? I'm not trying to win. I'm doing this because I want to beat someone, or because I hate someone, or because I want to blame someone. It's not because it's fun, and God knows it's not because it's easy. I'm doing it because it is right. Because above all, it is kind. And I think that this boils down to what the entire series, what the entire show of Doctor Who was about. And I think this series of 10 was really trying to go back to that, trying to return to what it was that made Doctor Who so great for everybody. Before the next run of the Doctor. And I think that this pulls it up exactly in the last episode with the Twice Upon a Time speech that the Doctor gives to himself, basically, before regenerating, is that you wait a moment, Doctor. Let's get it right. I've got a few things to say to you. Basic stuff first. Never be cruel, never be cowardly, and never, ever eat pears.
Most importantly.
Yes. Remember, hate is always foolish and love is always wise. Always try to be nice, but never fail to be kind. And I think this is a great send-off for Stephen Moffat, and I think this is a great send-off for Peter Capaldi, because Peter Capaldi, as the Doctor, he has always been kind to his fans. He's always been kind to everyone that has been on the show. He has loved the show, and I think that
our son is named after him.
Yes. I, for one, really enjoyed him on the show, and I think this is something that the series as a whole was really all about. Was that it's about the love of humanity, love of everything that makes sentient creatures sentient. Is that we can think about things, we can develop things and do things and be whatever we want to be. And I think that this is evident in the personhood of the Doctor. At least all the episodes that I've seen, is that that's who the Doctor is. The Doctor wants everybody that it encounters to be better.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll talk about Jodie Whittaker at the end here, but I really am excited for her to be the Doctor. But I think that seeing the humanity in the others is very essential, and this is what I meant by it got a little bit political in its allegory, was that with Brexit and with, with
MAGA.
the 2016 presidential election, people forgot how to be kind to each other, that they've become these zombies in party lines, and they've really forgotten that the people that they're fighting against are human beings as well. And I mean, we can talk about this if we wanted to, about that one episode of Black Mirror where Man on Fire, I think it's called, where they see the refugees as roaches.
Yep.
But I think this is very evident in the entire run of this series is about being kind and seeing humanity for human beings. And I think this was great ending on the Christmas armistice of 1914. And, you know, why that ended. And Kathy took great pleasure in informing me of something I didn't know about that, was that the soldiers got in trouble for that. They got in trouble because they refused to fight afterwards. They refused to shoot people who were, you know, their own human beings. They were their own race, and they saw them as human beings. And in fact, there was that episode of Black Mirror is named for a book that was a study on World War II, was that I think it was somewhere around 70%, 70 to 80% of all shots that were fired in World War II were fired above people's heads.
Yep.
Because people couldn't get themselves to shoot at other human beings. And I think this is something that we need to remember as a race, as a human race, is that just to be kind to one another. And I think this is something that this show does incredibly well, because it can view humanity from the outside, as it were.
Yeah.
Is to be objective about humanity.
And I think that the Doctor, even when he comes across the humans that are seen as like the villain of the episode, he still like sees them as a human and still sees them as something better than they are acting at that point in time.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't just write them off as a villain and, like, we can treat him however we want to because he's evil. Like, he still tries to, I guess, negotiate with them to see the error of their ways. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
To help them understand.
Yeah, to help them understand why what they're doing is wrong.
I think you saw that a little bit, too, in Series 9, the episode with Rusty, who was brought back for the Christmas special.
Yep.
Was that, because that's what the Doctor was trying to figure out all along, as Peter Capaldi, was, am I a good man?
Yep.
And I think that Clara was a little too harsh on him. But, you know, that's a little different story for a different day.
Yeah.
That's a whole different series. But I think that in it, that episode where he says that, no, you are a good Dalek, is that I think the Doctor really realized, not that you know, the Daleks were evil, but that he was in some ways painting some things as black and white. That not everything, nothing is black and white. And this is something that we talk about more in our Last Jedi episodes last week. So if you want to go listen to those, we talk about that there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think this has to kind of roll into, like, letting go of our expectations for one another.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, the Doctor does expect humans to be nice and kind, and that isn't the case, like, ever. Well, let me talk about a little bit about Bill. I mentioned before earlier in this episode here that I really liked her. I really did enjoy her as a character. I feel like we got a lot more from her than a lot of the other companions that we've had, especially in the short amount of time that she's given us. And I really wish that we had more time with Bill.
Oh, I know. With only one series under her belt, she really made an impact as a character, as a fully fleshed out character, rather than some of the other companions who were really just kind of like,
Yeah, just
afterthoughts.
Exactly. Like, she wasn't just like a tag-along person to the Doctor. Like, she was like a partner more with the Doctor than previous, I think. Anyway, and another thing that I liked about her too was that with Bill, something that they decided to do, they have had LGBTQ characters previous in Doctor Who, like with Jack. However, she from the very beginning, we knew that she was a lesbian. And constantly throughout the series, she's telling people, no, I don't like men. No, you're not my type. She's constantly just trying to brush these people off because she keeps on coming in front of these people who expect her to, not be a lesbian. Expect her to fall over, herself to be with those guys. And another thing too, she's also expected to clean the TARDIS. The first Doctor comes right out and is expecting her to be the person that keeps up the TARDIS, and they both kind of look at him what?
Can we just say that it's amazing that I can't remember what his name is, the actor that plays the first Doctor, that he amazingly looks like the first Doctor.
Mm-hmm. Just of course, there's he's not 100% obviously, but pretty darn good,
Oh, I know.
Yeah, especially for. They didn't have to do any computerized anything to his face. But anyway. And I really like the fact that they made her a lesbian because it got rid of that sexual tension that you brought up earlier.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Doctor Who, I really did not, I've never, ever liked the sexual tension storylines. I didn't mind River Song at all because she wasn't really a companion. She was an equal.
Yeah, because she was a Time Lord as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess made into a Time Lord.
Yeah.
But anyway, but with the other ones, in the previous series, I never liked it, to be honest. I didn't.
Well, I think the only time that it actually fit was with between Rose and David Tennant's Doctor. I think that's the only time it really kind of fit. But Rose got her human version of the Doctor that was David Tennant. So.
Yeah. But I did, because by making her a lesbian, it got rid of our expectations of them, of her falling in love with him. Because even Clara, towards the end, because she did like him before his regeneration, and then she was all confused after he was an old man. But anyway, I really like that they were just no, we're just not going to deal with it. We're just going to make her a lesbian.
Yeah.
And let me just say, that doesn't mean that she didn't love the Doctor. She clearly did love the Doctor.
Yeah.
Just not in, a couple way.
Yeah, not in a romantic way.
Exactly. Another thing that we expected to in here, and we didn't actually find this out until after we saw her a few times, but we see Bill, and she is sitting in one of the lecture halls, and the Doctor is giving a big old lecture, and so we would assume that she's a student. She comes over to his office, is talking about how great he is, but then we later find out she's not a student. She actually just works in the kitchens.
Yeah.
But again, we just automatically assumed and expected her to be a student when she wasn't. And I think she did mention about how it was just too much money, and so that's why she just kind of snuck into lectures. So she clearly loved learning. She just, unfortunately, this is pretty common, she lacked the opportunity, I guess.
Yeah. To
actually go to school and get a higher learning. And we could definitely talk more about that too, but anyway, that's another topic. And because I think that we're kind of lucky, the fact that we watched the series after we already knew that Jodie Whittaker was going to be the Doctor. That Jodie Whittaker was going to be the Doctor, because it got rid of the who is it going to be kind of idea in our mind.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm not a big fan of spoilers, but this is one spoiler that I didn't mind, because actually watching it, you saw subtle clues dropped throughout the whole entire series that the Doctor was going to be a woman. And they knew that the Doctor was going to be a woman from the very beginning of the series.
Yeah. And I think that it really helped. I think it was setting the path even since Peter Capaldi took on the mantle as the Doctor.
Yeah. And I really do think that we were ready for this. people were very, very upset when Peter Capaldi became the Doctor because he was an old man. Totally forgetting that the Doctor
is 2,000 years old.
Well, that and for the first, handful of regenerations, he was an old man. Like, he didn't become a young man until more around the reboot time.
Yeah, well, Christopher Eccleston and with David Tennant, and then Matt Smith being the youngest Doctor.
Yeah, so we were, I think because of that, we were setting an expectation that we're going to have another young Doctor, and then all of a sudden he's old.
Yeah.
That threw everybody for a loop. A lot of people were upset. So a lot of people were happy for this regeneration, thinking that they were going to get a young Doctor again. They did get another young Doctor. It's just now the Doctor is a woman, and so a lot of people are upset about that now.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are going to be upset about, either it being old or it being a woman or being anything else than
Heaven forbid
a white guy.
Heaven forbid he has red hair one day.
Oh, I know. Well, the Doctor would love it, though.
But I think that this was, like I said, we have been ready for it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been prepping us for it. If you rewatch the series again, they were definitely like trying to put the seed in people's minds as they were watching it. And towards the end, you almost feel as though the Doctor chose to be a woman.
Yeah.
Especially since he kept on having to defend Bill for being a woman. He kept on having to defend, like, the other women characters. Like, no, you are a leader. Like, you can do this. And so I think that he was like, why not just try it out? I don't know exactly how regenerations work, obviously, because I'm not a Time Lord. Shocking. But, but maybe there is that little, maybe it's kind of like the Sorting Hat.
Yeah.
Where ultimately you do have a little bit of a choice in what happens to you.
Subconsciously.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I think that was brought up a little bit with Peter Capaldi's onset was with the first couple of episodes. Why did I choose this face? It was a familiar face. And, since Peter Capaldi was in that episode with David Tennant as the Doctor.
Yep, the Pompeii episode.
Yeah. And so was realizing that he couldn't save everybody.
Yeah. And that's kind of, that's the last series.
Yeah, well, 2 series ago.
2 series ago. And I think what this all has to boil down to, maybe what the writers have been trying to get through to us, is that sometimes not meeting your expectations can be a good thing. Maybe it is time for a change, and change is not necessarily bad. Maybe it's a little uncomfortable at first, but it's going to be good in the long run.
Yeah. And
even, this happens in companies too. Like, companies will change things. If you have had a job, which I'm sure most of our listeners have had, I'm sure you can remember that one time that the company made a decision to change something up and everybody threw a fit. Or a bunch of people complained, but then you just get used to it, and then you end up liking the system, or you like the new way, eventually. Sure, it takes some time, but...
eventually
you will get there. And let's face it, like, when the reboot came out, back in the 90s, people hated it.
Yep.
People hated it. But now, like, they don't really look so fondly, like, on Chris still. He's probably one of the least liked Doctors.
I liked Christopher Eccleston. I think that he was fantastic.
No, I liked him too. I'm just saying that a lot of people didn't like him.
No, I know.
But they have kind of, like, grown to like him a little bit more. Like, he was, like, the rebel Doctor, he was, like, the hip, sexy one, I guess.
Well, he was... Well, if you go according to the actual timeline, he's right after the War Doctor, so he had just come off of, doing the horrible things that he did do, and so. But
what I'm getting at is it turned out okay.
Yeah.
Like, even those people that didn't like him at first ended up not being 100% turned off to Doctor Who, and they're still watching it.
Yeah.
Like, if it was that bad, they wouldn't be there. And no one has actually said that it couldn't happen. I mean, what I mean is like no one has actually said that the Doctor couldn't be a woman.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of why they decided to make Missy was just to kind of test the waters to see, how people would react, and there wasn't too big of an, backlash or outrage there. So then I guess that was their way of trying to convince us that it could possibly happen, and probably will happen to the Doctor as well too.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think too, heck, it's a TV show. Mm-hmm. Let's be able to give it a little bit of grace here. No TV show is perfect.
Yeah.
No movie is perfect. Even us as fans have to give it a little bit of grace sometimes.
Well, I think you have to leave room for the artist to make their art. Mm-hmm. I think that, it's going to be different now that a new showrunner is going to be taking over. You had the Stephen Moffat run, which some fans view it as great, some fans view it as horrible. Mm-hmm. But I think that you got to let the artist make its art, whatever it may be.
Exactly, and give them the time to actually express themselves, because sometimes it does take a little bit of time in order for you to be able to see the full artwork that they've created for you. So,
where do we go from here?
Well, I would like to bring up first things first. Something that we can take with us, obviously, is expectations. One, we shouldn't hold people to expectations that hasn't been written down in stone. Yeah. I can't expect you to I don't know, make the bed in the morning if I haven't either said, hey, can you please make the bed in the morning, and you say yes, or it being a pattern for you.
Yeah.
For making the bed. And I don't know, it comes down to communication, I guess. You just got to communicate your expectations.
Well, that's very true.
But again, if something doesn't meet your expectations, do give it a little bit of grace.
Well, I mean, have you ever known me to make the bed?
Have I ever made the bed?
Exactly.
But that's why I brought it up as an example.
Yeah, and I think that it's about being kind, and this is something that I found very recently, that people are very against kindness.
Yeah.
Which I wrote about it this week, and I wrote primarily because I knew that we were going to be talking about this Doctor Who series, but also because of our last discussion on The Last Jedi, and with Black Mirror episodes, mm-hmm. and with the state of our world, and with my own waging small wars on Twitter against evangelical leaders, is that seeing other people as human beings is something that has gotten away from us. Even, those of us who are resisting and trying to hold on to the things that we love. So we've forgotten that it's about saving the things that we love. Instead, we want to win. We want to win by destroying the things that we hate. And I think it's not about that. It's not about fighting what we hate. It's about saving what we love. And I think that essentially from The Last Jedi, and now bringing over now into Doctor Who Series 10, is something that we need to remember wholeheartedly now, because there are so many people who are resisting, and they're growing tired. They're growing weary. They're very much like the Doctor in this Christmas special. So the Doctor didn't want to go on. And then the Doctor realized why the Doctor needed to go on was because people still needed help. People still need the Doctor. People still need to see how to be kind. Mm-hmm. And I think that in essence was that crux, that final speech to the Doctor's self was saying, above all, be kind.
Yeah.
Be courageous. And I think this is a speech for all of humanity.
Pears.
Don't eat pears.
Actually, no, don't eat pears and then give them to me, because I will eat them for you.
Pears are good.
Pears are good.
Which, just found out today, that came from a deleted scene from David Tennant, Doctor, saying that he does not like pears. Apparently. Don't let him eat pears.
But pears are delicious. Anyway.
So, wrapping it all up now. So these are the things that are coming up.
Obviously the name change.
Obviously the name change. If you have any feedback for us about either the name or about this episode or previous episodes, please shoot us an email or give us a call and leave us a voicemail, or shoot us a text at 720-372-3776. 3879. What we have coming up next week is maybe Thor Ragnarok, if we can go to see it this weekend. If we're not going to be able to, then we'll swap it with Black Mirror Archangel, which will be the next week. After that, we are going to be doing The Good Place Season 2, because that season will end on February 1st. So we will be coming fresh off of that, and that's going to be, I think they've covered a lot of topics in this season. So I don't think it's going to be a very easy one for us to condense down into the major small points of the season.
Demons can be good.
Demons can be good. Demons can learn how to be human.
Yep. And then also, I know you're going to bring up social media. We need to thank somebody for actually messaging us and giving us some feedback.
We did get some feedback on Twitter this last week from Casey Russo. She said that she really liked the Kathy rule from Moana, which, quite honestly, we kind of forgot what the Kathy rule was.
We had to, re-listen to Moana because we were like, what? That Kathy rule?
What was the Kathy rule?
I was like, I remember saying something about the Kathy rule and saying that I liked it, but I can't remember what it was. So we'll just give you, a little bit of feedback as to what it was. The Kathy rule is if you can swap genders for a main character, mostly if you can take a female character and make it to if you can switch out her gender and she becomes male, it should still be the same storyline.
And
right, that's
that is pretty much in a nutshell what the Kathy rule is.
It was said more eloquently, in the Moana episode. So if you want to check that out after this one, go ahead.
We are not going to be changing our handles on any social media, so you can still find us on most social media platforms at the same places that we've been telling you about. At Facebook, we are facebook.com/Real Honest Faith. On Twitter, we are at Real Honest Faith. On Tumblr, on Reddit, you can find us. You can also find us on Google+, but I don't know why you would look for us on Google+, because why are you on there?
Why do you keep bringing up Google+?
Because it's an easy one to put down, I guess. You can also find us on YouTube. Our channel did change its name to the Patron Saints of Pop Culture this last week, so you can find us on there. If you watch us on YouTube, that's fantastic, because we don't really have any pictures that go along with it, except for the episode art. So.
Nope.
Yeah, and let's see. We've got Patreon, so you can check out on Patreon. You can check us out on our website, thehonestfaith.com. You can also purchase my book on there and throw it at people if you don't like them.
Or use it as a coaster.
Or actually read it, because, that would be good too.
Sure.
So, anyway, with all of that being said, this is my last time to invite you to come and join the conversation, because next week we are going to be the Patron Saints of Pop Culture.
Sounds great. Bye.
Bye.